What's good, y'all? I want to ask y'all a question. Have y'all ever heard of something called emotional intelligence? It's something that I've been a little bit obsessed with lately. While I was away, I actually went to a 4-month class. I mean, it was a serious intensive on emotional intelligence.
I know, it was hard for me and I was doing it.
And today, I want to do a deep dive into this concept and let it be your guiding star, especially during the hard times of separation. So if you're navigating through this right now and you're stuck or you're just kind of curious, please stick around. So let's start with what is emotional intelligence. Imagine your feelings, thoughts, and reactions were like a vast orchestra playing the grand symphony of our lives. Emotional intelligence would be like the maestro, making sure that each section and instrument plays in harmony. The internet definition of emotional intelligence is being able to understand, manage, and use your own emotions in positive ways to relieve stress, communicate effectively, empathize with others, overcome challenges, and diffuse conflicts. There are 5 components of emotional intelligence, and they are self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, motivation, and social skills. So let's break this down in terms of emotional intelligence with separation. Emotional intelligence is not really just about going through all the feels that you feel when you're going through a separation, but it's also about mastering those emotions.
You must learn to master your emotions.
Feeling those feelings and then moving on. The funny thing about these 5 components of emotional intelligence, I actually talked about these sort of in my 6 systems video that I did probably about, oh my God, maybe 2 years ago. And I didn't know then that I was even talking about emotional intelligence until I actually got into this training. So the first component of emotional intelligence is self-awareness. So what is self-awareness? Self-awareness is actually the cornerstone of emotional intelligence. It's about being tuned into your own emotions, into yourself, understanding what triggers them, and recognize the effects that they have on your thoughts and your reactions. It's like having a mirror to your soul and reflecting back to you how you truly feel. During challenging times like separation, emotions are heightened. The highs feel higher and the lows feel lower. And it's about taking a closer, in-depth look, what's playing in your heart, to ask yourself, why are these emotions here? What triggered it? And how is this influencing my thoughts and actions? It's basically what I talked about in the last video. It's taking a pause for just a second, turning internal, asking yourself, basically, what the hell is going on? In the process of separation, emotions can often be mixed with past memories, past hurts, past pains, the current realities of what's going on in your marriage, and maybe even future anxieties. Asking yourself, what if we get a divorce? What about the kids? What would our finances look like? Being self-aware is gently untangling all of these knots, understanding these twists and turns that we just go through every single day. And once you truly understand your emotional state, you're better equipped to handle it. Instead of being caught off guard by this sudden rush of emotions, you'll see it coming. You can prepare, understand, and navigate through that emotion. And while you're navigating the complexities of separation, you can truly do it in a more graceful place. So for example, like I said earlier, when you're going through something and you feel that emotion coming, feel it. Don't try to run from it, feel it, but try more to understand why you feel that way. So for instance, some of you may be going through, well, you're going through a little bit of everything, but let's talk about loneliness. Some of you might feel a little lonely during this time of separation, but even in your loneliness, of course, if you say, well, why do I feel this way? Of course, you're gonna say, well, I miss my spouse. I want my spouse to be here. I want you to be a little deeper than that. It's not just that, yes, you miss your spouse, you miss your family, you miss being married maybe, but with so much going on in this world, we have books, we have our phones, we have TV, we have the internet. We can go outside, we have people we can talk to. Where is that loneliness truly coming from? Let me ask you a harder question. In your loneliness state, why do you feel like you need someone around you for you to no longer be lonely? Journal about that. But let's move on, because we'll be here all day talking about self-awareness. So the next one I want to actually talk about is self-regulation. Self-regulation is something that we actually should learn as babies. And I really think that nowadays, a lot of people don't know how to self-regulate. Self-regulate, I've seen on other parts of the internet, like they call it self-soothing. A lot of babies self-soothe. Maybe they're fussy, and instead of you having to give them the pacifier, they'll go find the pacifier themselves. I've seen my kids do this. Like they'll go find the pacifier themselves and put the pacifier in their mouth. Or maybe some kids, will suck on their hand or suck on their thumb, or they'll do something to where they'll comfort themselves instead of you as the parent really needing to comfort your kids. They'll find a way to self-soothe. That's basically what self-regulation is. It's finding a way to soothe you without the help of someone else. So in other words, what I'm trying to say is with self-awareness, you're aware of your emotions. But with self-regulation, you're deciding how to now use your emotions to not be enslaved by your emotions. So let's take the feeling of anger as an example. It's natural, it's human, sometimes it's justified, but acting on it impulsively, now that's where things can get a little muddy. Imagine a pot of boiling water. The heat, or in this case, the triggering situation, can make it bubble. Now, if you don't turn down the heat or take the pot off the fire, it can spill over, causing potential harm. Self-regulation is adjusting the flame or using a lid to prevent the spill. It's the act of pausing, yet again, reflecting and choosing a response rather than reacting impulsively. But you need to fully acknowledge your feelings, understand their intensity, and then deciding the best course of action. Maybe you need to channel that anger in a productive task, or it's a sign that you need to communicate something important to someone. Usually when we feel a certain feeling, especially if it's out of the realm, like if you should be sad about something but you're angry about something, or basically if the emotion is just like way above maybe what the situation is, then maybe it's something that you're holding on to and you need to let out. There's something you need to say. And when you're going through something like separation, the emotional palette can be so intense that sometimes we will act before we even think. And self-regulation ensures that you won't let these strong feelings dictate your actions. One thing that I have learned is everything that we do in our life, there is choice. We have a choice for everything. How we react to our emotions, even the emotions that we feel in the moment. Sometimes, I'm not gonna say all the time. Like if you got bad news, especially if someone like passed in your family, the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna be sad. You might be happy depending on who it is. How many times have we done that? We've actually had a moment to think about what we were about to do, but we still decided to do it anyway. Self-regulation is taking that feeling, pausing for just a second, and choosing to either do something different or you can do the same thing that you were thinking about doing in the first place. But just know, when we are going through times like this, even though it's a roller coaster, everything that we do is still a choice. How we react is still a choice. How we act is still a choice. The next component of emotional intelligence is actually motivation. During the moments of separation, the joys of companionship, mutual goals, and shared dreams begin to feel like a distant memory. So where does one find the drive when the road gets bumpy? Well, it's your inner desires, your goals, and your values. In the midst of external noise, there's an internal whisper, and it comes from deep within. Maybe it's a desire to find peace, to rebuild, to rediscover oneself, or become a better version of yourself. During separation, there are many external factors shifting all over the place. It's essential to turn inward. What does your heart yearn for? For some of us, that turning inward is to God. That prayer, asking God, what am I feeling? What is my heart trying to tell me? What is He trying to tell me? Even though you are going through a separation, your life does not stop. So setting short-term goals, setting long-term goals. These goals will act as lighthouses, guiding you through the fog. It might be as simple as taking up a new hobby, seeking counseling, or planning a solo trip. Or maybe they're long-term aspirations like getting a promotion, personal growth, or nurturing other relationships. And a lot of times what happens is when things aren't going right with our spouse, we shut out everybody else. We don't need to completely shut everyone else out. You still need to nurture those relationships if you want them in your life. So if you have friends, family, talk to those people, hang out with those people, and just don't sit at home moping about your relationship. Motivation during separation isn't about just putting one foot in front of the other. It's about knowing why you are actually taking these steps, where you're hoping these steps lead you. The next component is empathy. we've actually already talked about empathy in the empathy and separation video. So I'm not going to talk too much about this one like I've done the other concepts. And I'll link that video above, or I'll link that video in the description. So empathy is like your GPS. It's about understanding your partner's feelings, their perspective, even if you don't agree with it. It's just about seeing the world through their eyes and understanding their viewpoint. The next concept is social skills. This isn't about being the life of the party or talking to a whole bunch of people, but having social skills is about communicating effectively. Whether it's discussing custody, shared assets, or just handling mutual friends, having strong social skills just makes the journey smoother. During separation, emotions can cloud conversations, and effective communication clears that fog, and ensuring your words reflect your feelings and intentions. Separation is tough. There is no sugarcoating it. But with these 5 pillars of emotional intelligence in your toolkit, the path becomes easier to navigate. It's about understanding yourself, connecting with others, and finding your way amidst the chaos. Emotional intelligence isn't just for therapists and self-help books. It's for you too. It's that silent strength that can guide you, especially when the waters get rough. Keep these 5 components close to your heart. Let them be your light to guide you home. If you guys want me to expand more on this topic, comment below, let me know. Sending you guys all the love and strength. Until next time.